What if one man, born into poverty more than 2,500 years ago, shaped the behavior, morality, government, and education of an entire civilization? What if his ideas became so powerful that emperors treated them like law, families used them to raise children, and his name became synonymous with Chinese culture itself? Yet, during his lifetime, he was ignored, even dismissed. How did a failing teacher become the most influential thinker in China's history? It begins in the chaotic spring and autumn period, a time when China was divided into dozens of competing states. Kings fought kings, nobles betrayed nobles, and entire regions burned in endless warfare. Confucius, born in 551 BCE in the state of Lu, grew up in a broken society. His father, a military officer, died when he was young, leaving his family in poverty. He spent his youth studying rituals, history, and ancient texts, believing the answers to China's chaos were buried in its past. But Confucius didn't want to be a philosopher at first. He wanted to be a government official, someone who could restore order. He believed moral leadership, not brute force, was the foundation of a stable state. Rulers should lead by virtue, not fear. Officials should serve honestly, not greedily. Families should teach respect, harmony, and duty. In a time of corruption, these ideas were revolutionary. Confucius began traveling from court to court, offering his political philosophy to rulers across China. But most of them weren't interested in virtue, they wanted military strategy. Confucius was turned away again and again, yet failure only sharpened his ideas. While wandering from state to state, he gathered a group of loyal students. These disciples recorded his teachings and debated his philosophy, which would later be compiled into the Analects, the core text of Confucianism. Inside are lessons that shaped Chinese civilization for centuries. At the center of his philosophy was Ren, often translated as humaneness or benevolence. But Ren wasn't softness, it was moral strength, the ability to act with empathy even when it was difficult, and to treat others with dignity whether they were kings or peasants. Next was Li, the code of proper behavior, rituals, manners, etiquette, ceremony. But Li went far beyond bowing or being polite. It was a social technology, a way to maintain harmony without force. But what if a ruler acted without moral virtue? Confucius had an answer for that too. He taught Yi, righteousness, doing what is morally right, even when it brings no reward. A corrupt minister might profit in the short term, but a righteous one strengthens the entire state. And at the heart of Chinese family life was Zhao, or filial piety. This wasn't blind obedience, it meant honoring parents, caring for elders, respecting ancestors, and maintaining family loyalty. Confucius argued that society starts with the individual. A good ruler must first be a good person. A good government must first be morally grounded. A good citizen must honor their family and community. During a time of political violence, these ideas offered stability and hope. But Confucius never achieved the political power he dreamed of. He returned to Lu, old and disappointed, and spent his final years teaching. He died believing he had failed. But history had other plans. After his death, his students spread his teachings across China. During the Warring States period, rival schools of thought emerged. Legalism, Mohism, Taoism, but Confucianism quietly grew. Then came the turning point, the Han Dynasty. Emperor Wu, seeking a unifying ideology, adopted Confucianism as the official foundation of the state. Suddenly, Confucius became the intellectual backbone of China. For over 2,000 years, imperial exams, the gateway to becoming a government official, were based on Confucian texts. Generations of scholars memorized the Analects, the 5 classics, and the 4 books. Confucianism shaped laws, education, family life, and even foreign policy. It defined what it meant to be a ruler, a son, a father, or a scholar. Confucius became more than a philosopher. He became a symbol of order, stability, and civilization. Temples were built in his honor. Emperors performed rituals at his ancestral home. His descendants were given noble titles. But Confucianism wasn't without controversy. Some dynasties used Confucian teachings to justify strict hierarchies. Women were often restricted by interpretations of filial duty and obedience. Scholars debated for centuries which parts of Confucius's teachings were pure and which had been twisted for political purposes. And during the 20th century, Confucianism came under attack. Reformers blamed it for China's stagnation. The Cultural Revolution targeted Confucian temples and traditions. For the first time in 2 millennia, the ideas of Confucius were openly rejected. Yet Confucius refused to disappear. Today, his philosophy has undergone a global revival. Confucian values, respect, education, discipline, harmony, remain embedded in China, Korea, Japan, Vietnam, and much of East Asia. His teachings influence business culture, family structures, social etiquette, and political ideology. Confucius Institutes promote Chinese language and culture worldwide, and the Analects written by his students more than 2,000 years ago remains one of the most widely read philosophical texts on earth. Confucius is no longer the wandering teacher ignored by kings. He is the philosopher who shaped a civilization, a man whose ideas outlived the states he lived in, the dynasties that adopted him, and the rulers who never listened. In the end, the story of Confucius is a reminder that ideas often achieve power long after their creators are gone, that the world's most influential revolutions sometimes begin with a single teacher, walking from court to court, carrying nothing but a belief that humans can be better and society can be wiser, and that history, China's history, was built not just by warriors or emperors, but by philosophers who dared to dream of a more virtuous world.